And so everything we heard and everything we read was Nadan Panchi.
Well, we have with us the Team XL, that is Ritesh Sidhwani and Farhan-Ritesh with us. Pleasure having you on Bollywood now.
Thank you.
Well, the news is that the Dawn 2 premiere is going to be happening at Berlin Film Festival on 11th February. Tell us something about the Berlin Film Festival.
It's actually the first Indo-German co-production. Also, the film, if you see it, it's with a company called Film Base. I had a tie-up with Median Board as well as the DFF, which is associated with like Revolutionary Road or Inglourious Basterds, so those kind of films. I think it's the first Indian film which managed to meet all its culture tests, and also as part of that they were very keen that, you know, if we can delay the European release of Dawn and premiere it at the festival, and they've given it a very good spot. So it's going to be screened at the Friedrichstraße Plaza, which is the main theatre.
It's like a dubbed German version. So that is something that...
I think also for the first time what is happening is because they saw what happened with the film in rest of the world before it released, and not besides India, I think we released in almost about 35 other countries, and they saw like what has happened in the overseas market. They've decided to give it a theatrical release in the dubbed version. So from this weekend you'll have a theatrical. Earlier they used to have films dubbed, mostly Shah Rukh's films, which were dubbed only for home video and free TV. But this time they're doing almost about 23 screens across Germany and Switzerland and Austria, I think, in certain places where it'll release the German language in a theatrical release. So it's a mainstream theatrical release as well.
I think a fan following that Shah Rukh Khan has in Europe especially, many of the fans, they'll be travelling actually to all these centres. They tend to do that all the time.
Yeah, I think a good gauge, a good gauge was just the number of people who came from all over to meet him when we were shooting. It's quite incredible. I mean, I don't know, just his following across a lot of those countries is pretty phenomenal.
Any chances of Donisms getting into an audio CD and releasing by any chance?
No, but it's a great idea, thank you. I'll use it.
And maybe even the DVD.
Yeah, possibly, why not?
Few of the Donisms which came about, I think we missed in the film. They were not there in the film.
They were actually just there to reintroduce the character to you. That's what the purpose of them were. But I do like this idea. I'll give you a little thank you credit at the end of the bonus chapters.
जैसे एक बहुत ही interesting था, अपने दुश्मनों का नाम याद रहे न रहे, उनको दफनाता कहाँ पर वो याद रखूँगा. But that was not there in the film in fact.
We have one thing very similar with Shah Rukh and you. You'll both forget the dialogue after you all have done it in the thing.
No, but I think that was very interesting.
No, but I genuinely, I think it's a good idea. I will give it some serious thought.
There was a story in a tabloid and it started off that ek panchi, according to a panchi or something, that all is not well in Excel and there is some sort of differences between Ritesh Sidhwani and Farhan-Ritesh because of certain staff members, they're not happy. 10 years of togetherness, where do you think this panchi is chirping from?
Okay, interesting question.
You want to get hold of this panchi?
No, I don't want to get hold of anyone. See, eventually, I mean, I think action speaks louder than words. Sure. People can say whatever they have to say. I mean, eventually what's going to happen, which will, I think within the next few months, there'll be a couple of new projects that will be announced, you know, when we start for whether it's the end of this year or for next year. And the minute that happens and people realize that, oh, there are more films being made at Excel, and so everything we heard and everything we read was Nadan Panchi. Bhola Panchi, who was saying all this before, you know. So I mean, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I mean, whether it's come from, I don't know how Nadan Panchi became Hurt staff member or whoever it is. At the end of the day, these are things usually happens when things are going well. When anything is kind of going well, there's always some kind of buzz surrounding it. Some of it is positive, some of it is sometimes negative. So you just have to take that in your stride and keep moving on. And at the end of the day, we're working together. So eventually the films will come, the films will be announced, and the voices will go silent.
You've been working for 10 years together, in fact. And आज से पहले कभी भी हम लोगों ने इस तरीके कोई बातें ऐसे सुनी नहीं, in fact. I have interviewed Farhan many times, and each time I asked anything, how many number of screens or prints, he always said that Ritesh is the guy. You've always said that, in fact. It seems pretty democratic and things seem to be demarcated. So इतने सालों से ये खबरें नहीं आई तो एकदम से suddenly आना and all.
खबरें अचानक ही आती हैं. अचानक ही आएंगी ना खबरें.
When there's something going good, people like to, you know, start digging up and trying to find something. You know, people who are sitting doing nothing and they're seeing there's a lot going on somewhere else, they'll try to figure it out. Absolutely. And somebody will spread something. Absolutely. And hopefully there'll be some. But I'm saying, like, now the minute we have and also the thing is we have a gap now for almost 8-9 months. We're not starting any film till maybe earliest we would start a film is end of the year. You know, so I think they're thinking that abhi inki koi announcement nahi aayi hai, Talash release ho rahi hai in June. So inke baad they've not announced. But I think by May, June, when we announce what we have, and there will be, because everyone, like Zoya is working on her script. Rima has a script which she had already written before she started Talash. Right. So she wants to do that. Farhan is thinking of directing by end of next year. Abhinay, who worked on Game, he's working, Gattu's working on Rock On 2's story and screenplay.
But at the same time, like these reports that Abhishek is not doing that 3 mistakes of my life that we discussed last time around as well, and that has gone to UTV. You know, that came about as well. So maybe कुछ उस तरीके की भी अटकलें हो रही थी that why, because I think Rock On, you got a national award for that film, and I think that's very special film for you.
I mean, I think right now we are only giving it too much importance by dwelling on it for so long. You know, so I think, I mean, at the end of the day, like we spoke about this the last time as well. You know, I mean, there really is no credence in going on talking about something that's so random, you know, and so kind of baseless. So I think we should only move on from this topic instead of going on talking about it. I mean, eventually films will be announced. That's what matters. You know, I mean, there's genuinely at the end of the day people who have a thought going on in their head. No matter what Ritesh and me sit here and say, they'll be like, oh, they are just saying it. If they want to think that. You know, it's when the films are announced, when they say, acha, okay, they're starting this film in Jan and that film in March and that film in June, then automatically you'll realize that nothing
Things
is going
subside
on.
now.
Absolutely.